Hi guys, I'm just another guy named James, and today I'm going to be talking about some of my Star Wars hot takes. And honestly, most of these I can defend. Some of them I'm just like, I don't really know how to explain it, but it's true. So yeah, and I've gone into several debates over a couple of these. But let's digress. Let's just hop straight into this. My first hot take: A New Hope is better than all of the prequels combined. Maybe not combined, but it's better than all of the prequels. The thing that everybody points to saying A New Hope is kind of a weak Star Wars movie is the corny dialogue. I'll explain why I'm doing the air quotes in a second, and the bad lightsaber fight. The bad lightsaber fight kind of has some ground because it's Alec Guinness and I can't remember the guy who plays the body of Darth Vader because it's not James Earl Jones. I can't remember, but it's Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, and they're just kind of standing there like, psh, 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 psh. And it's kind of a boring fight, right? And it's true. That's true. The fight's not flashy. But it does serve the story very well because it's not about Obi-Wan. It's about Luke and Leia and Han and Chewie. It's about them escaping, and that's what the fight shows off. And even without being the flashiest fight, it still made everybody want a lightsaber. So yeah, that's kind of the lightsaber thing. For me, that's kind of that puts to rest. Yes, it's not great as a fight, but as part of the story, I think it's good. And then the corny dialogue is something that people will point to, and I would just like to say, how are you gonna say A New Hope has corny dialogue, and that is why the prequels are better? Because the prequels have much cornier dialogue, and I don't think A New Hope really has much corny dialogue. There's a lot of world build. There's a good amount of world building. There's some lines that I'm like, oh, why did you say that? The one that I always point to is the Luke Skywalker line where he goes, "Oh, I wanted to go to Tashi Station and pick up some power converters." That line isn't great. But really, that's the main one from A New Hope that I go okay, why is that there? And even that, I'm like, okay, whatever. It's one line for 1 second, and then you get moving. And the prequels, the performances just aren't as good and as attention grabbing and as riveting as they are in the original trilogy, and A New Hope sells it to me. Mark Hamill delivers a good performance as Luke. He's it's literally just the hero's journey archetype, but Mark Hamill plays it really well. You want to see Luke succeed and grow and become the Jedi that his father was. You want to see that, and most of that is sold to you by Mark Hamill's performance. Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford also do a great job. Harrison Ford plays this cool, confident smuggler character really well. And yeah, the performances are sold better in A New Hope than they are in the prequels. And yeah. And honestly, the story is so much better in A New Hope than in the prequels. That's not even arguable. And yeah, honestly, it's just a better movie. And that one of the big things I point to for why it's a better movie is the trench run at the end. So, because the trench run, it is tense every time you watch it. I know that at the end of the trench run, Luke Skywalker shoots his photon torpedo and blows up the Death Star. It's still a tense scene to watch every time. The prequels don't have any scenes that even come close to that level of tension and performance and delivery. There's no moments in there where I'm like tense, like who's gonna win, who's gonna lose. You can always figure it out. But yeah, the basic take: New Hope greater than prequels. And then my next one is Return of the Jedi is better than every other piece of Star Wars content ever made. And that's, if you want to see a whole video on why Return of the Jedi is the best, that's already up on my channel, so go give that a watch. The link's in the description. So this one's a more recent hot take, and that's that the lightsaber fights in Kenobi are worse than the lightsaber fights in the sequels. Don't get me wrong, they're both they're both weak lightsaber fights. Kenobi is worse. Because in Kenobi, you get the baseball bat the lightsaber as a baseball bat. And it's like, it's the same idea where like you know, Obi-Wan hits something and the recoil sends him back instead of him just like pulling it back or what. You know, it's hard. There's one scene I'm thinking of. If you saw the show, you know what I'm talking about. But that was just frustrating. The cinematography and choreography on Obi-Wan's fights with Darth Vader were abysmal. They filmed the scenes too dark to actually see anything, and they just didn't have enough of an actual lightsaber fight. Like, they didn't have enough clashing and dodges and weaves. It was a lot of just like Obi-Wan running away from Darth Vader, which was not a cool lightsaber fight. That's why kind of the best fight on that show is when Darth Vader beats down Reva, because you can actually see everything. It's fast paced and it's well lit. So that's why, and the sequels have a lot of those same qualities where the lightsaber fights are very fast paced, they're very well lit, you can see everything. There's a lot of cool ideas posited. They do share the problem of debuffing the lightsabers, which I don't like, but it's a much lesser problem in the sequels than it is in Kenobi. The sequels' biggest problem was definitely their story and not their cinematography. So yeah, that's a hill that I've died on several times. So is this next one, actually. Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen deliver two of the worst performances ever put to film in Star Wars. Because, my goodness, they are terrible, and they're terrible together. And you really see it in Attack of the Clones, when they're both on Naboo for the whole movie, when they're both together the whole movie, and nobody else is with them. Those are some of the worst parts of of Star Wars. Like, I would rather watch Rise of Skywalker again than watch those parts of Attack of the Clones again. And it's just they're just such poor performances coming from those two actors that it's honestly mind-boggling that they were ever cast. And Hayden Christensen, he just cannot speak right. Like, you never like Anakin in the movies. You don't like Anakin until you watch Clone Wars. That's when you're like, okay, Anakin's kind of cool. And then Natalie Portman as Padme, she just doesn't have good chemistry with Hayden Christensen. Her character is written in such a way that you just don't like her, because she's constantly just like, and this is how democracy dies, with thunderous applause. Like, she just, the way she delivers her lines really bugs me in those movies. And honestly, I don't think Natalie Portman's ever been in a good movie that I've seen. Now, I've only seen Star Wars and the Marvel movies with her, and in both of those, she delivers very poor performances. But I digress. Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen, poor actors, and I don't understand why Hayden Christensen is now so loved that they felt the need to bring him back in Kenobi. But yeah, moving on. This one is more common now than it was a few years ago. But Rogue One is only okay. It's not even in the top 5, honestly. Like, it's just such a mediocre movie. It has a great space battle at the end. Don't get me wrong. But everything before before the big Act 3 action scene is just boring. Like, the main character, I forget her name even, Jyn Erso. She's just not she's just not even really a character. She is just a plot device. A lot like, I can't even remember her name. The girl in the new Doctor Strange movie. A lot like that, where she's just kind of there to make the plot move forward and not there to be a character. And honestly, that's kind of what all of the characters are in Rogue One. There's nothing about them that you can distinguish, except for maybe you could argue Cassian Andor, but most of his character comes in his show, not even really in the movie. In the movie, basically all you get is he does what it takes to get the job done. But yeah. So yeah, Rogue One, mediocre, not bad, but also not great. And then this is my get like argued with hard hot take. Rebels is better than Clone Wars. Okay, so hear me out for a second. Well, Clone Wars came first, obviously, and frankly, Clone Wars has higher highs. You know, think the last arc of season 7 with Ahsoka on Mandalore, or the beginning of season 5 arc with Obi-Wan on Mandalore. You know, Darth Maul, Savage Opress, all of that, the Ahsoka's trial, all of that stuff. Think all of that, and you get some really high highs. You get some great peaks. But then think of, like, the episode where it's just the 4 astromechs and the 1 pit droid wandering around the desert for 4 episodes. You get some deep valleys with those high mountains, honestly. So I think the average of Clone Wars is just thrown off by those valleys and those peaks. And the average of Clone Wars, I think, is just lower than the average of Rebels. Rebels doesn't really have any valleys. It has a couple good mountains, and I think the overall quality of Rebels is better. I think the stories told are a little better. I think the characters are more interesting, and they can obviously do more with the characters, have them grow and learn more, and change more as the story progresses. But yeah, I just think Rebels is an overall higher quality show than Clone Wars. Clone Wars has higher highs. I'm not even going to pretend it doesn't. But it also has lower lows, and Rebels doesn't have that lows. It's standing up on second watch, and Clone Wars didn't even really stand up on first watch. So yeah, that's my biggest Star Wars take, I think. But yeah, and funnily enough, it's also my last. So yeah, those are my Star Wars hot takes. Agree, disagree, let me know. Oh, actually, real quick, I've got another one. Book of Boba Fett, not that bad. I'm not gonna say it was good, but it wasn't truly terrible. Sometimes. Yeah, that's what I've got for you. And honestly, I think I'm done for the day. So yeah, I'm just another guy named James, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.